Everybody, what is going on? It is Saturday, September, Saturday, June 18th, 2022. This is a special live stream that we are doing today. As you already know, I spoke about the, hold on, let me mute that. Sorry about that echo. I forgot I had my other page open and it wasn't muted. But today is a very special live stream. As many of you who were in the live last night or last evening, I said that we were going to be doing a discussion on the Black Bible right here, the ISIS papers. I call it the Black Bible. So come on in, hit that like button, hit that share button, subscribe if you are new, have that bell click so you can be notified whenever I go live like I am right now, or whenever I upload a new video. I would greatly appreciate it. I hope everybody got the memo yesterday when I talked about it at the end of the live stream. I hope y'all got the memo on the community tab. I posted it a few hours ago, so y'all had enough time to really get the memo of what or the gist of what it is that I'm going to be talking about today, as well as if I bring anybody up on here. So just to reiterate, I'm going to be talking about, we are going to be talking about, because I don't plan on doing this by myself, this book right here, this masterpiece of literature right here by this woman that you see right here. I call it a queen mother for a reason. She's very deserving of that title. 25 chapters. I remember buying this book or purchasing this book on Amazon at the end of May. And I said, I'm going to hold myself accountable and I'm going to read a chapter a day. I did not even look at the table of contents because I didn't want to know what chapters I was going to be reading from or reading about. I just wanted to go in there like completely, cold to what it is I was about to read. And I read a chapter a day. And it actually helped the days pass pretty fast too, 25 days. So you're talking about, it took almost an entire month almost for me to get through this entire book. That's crazy. But I'm so glad that I did. I got a lot of knowledge out of it. It's crazy. Some of the stuff that I talk about on my videos was in this book. I've also learned a whole lot from this book as well. There's a lot of knowledge in this book. A lot. It's understandable why this kind of book would never be in anybody's school, but I wouldn't, I'm not surprised that it isn't. If they'll whine and complain about quote unquote CRT, this book definitely, they definitely wouldn't put that in the schools for sure. Most definitely not. But I'm just waiting for some more people to come on in, so people can't say that they missed anything. Let's see, who do we have so far in the chat? Jamal, Game, Royal Jukebox, Esmont, Keith, Spidey, Sunlight, Chris G, Tina, Vaughn, Savage Media, Lady Messenger, CJ, Film Animation Art, Chris Rockshoe, Nikki the God. What's going on? Royal Jukebox said, you make me want to start reading again. A chapter a day is all it takes. Exactly, a chapter a day. At first, I was going to do 10 pages a day, but I said, if I did 10 pages a day, I might as well do a chapter, because 10 pages is a chapter right there. And honestly, the chapters aren't that long. Some chapters are a little bit longer than others. Some chapters are short. Like I think one of the shorter chapters that I read page-wise was probably about 5 pages. That was probably like about the shortest chapter page-wise. I can't remember exactly what the chapter was about, but page-wise, the shortest chapter I think I read was about 5 pages. But it was a lot in those 5 pages. They say big things can come in small packages. It definitely applied to that particular chapter. But let me go ahead and reiterate right now, while it's still early, I'm going to post the link for people to come up and discuss this book with me, because I think this is going to be a lot for me to talk about on my own. And I always also want to get other people's interpretation of the book. What did they think of the book? What was their favorite chapters? What was their takeaway and all of that good stuff? But like I said yesterday, and like I said on the community tab today, there are 2 rules with one exception for one person if they come in. 2 rules though. 1, you have to have read the entire book. That's the first rule. That is the first rule. The second rule is we are only going to be talking about this book, nothing else. We're not going to deviate and go into any other topics. This is not like the stream I did yesterday when we're talking about news or anything like that. This is not a Freestyle Friday that it will be that'll come next this upcoming Friday. That's when we can talk about whatever, shoot, kick back, whatever. But today or this evening, depending on where you are, this is going to be the topic of discussion. So, y'all already got the ground rules, so you can't say that I didn't tell you. I said it 3 times in my stream yesterday. I put it in my community tab today, and you just heard it again just now. So you can't say that you don't know. Now you do. There it is. Let's see, who else do we have in here? Still Rain. LaHomer Washington. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. K Croft is 99. TJ, Theory Dominique, English Overstreet, Rira New Tara, Paradigm T101, The Accuser, Marie Williams, J Click, P Money. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We currently have, well, on Restream, it says I had 77 people, on YouTube, it might say a different number. The numbers never line up. I don't know why that is, but we working with it anyway. We got Black Voltron just ended the chat. What's going on? Let's see, who else do we have in? Marcella, Muhammad, Aaron Sanders. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead now. I'm gonna post. Let me make sure I got the right link. I'm going to post the link in here, and there it is right there. I need to go on a way to pin this. Let me go onto my channel and pin this at the top. All right, there it is. But so if anybody would like to come on, and we're talking about this and only this, that's the link. Feel free to come on up. Also hit that like button, like Gregory X said at the top. Hit that like button. Somebody said, where can I find the book? You can find it on Amazon. That's where I bought mine at. You can go on Amazon and just type in the search bar the ISIS papers, and it'll come right on up. I believe the book is like $13.99, so it's very affordable. Eclipse said, I have the book, but I was not able to complete or comprehend the entire book. That's how deep the book is written. I would suggest that if you have to read it a couple of times to really understand it, then definitely do so. A lot of people don't realize, or maybe they do, this book right here and books like it is what inspired the voices of the new black media in a major way. So people like Tariq, Jason Black, or the Black Authority, Professor Black Truth, myself, Nicole's View, Lisa Cabrera, wrote True Royal Family, Harvey, over at Your World, and so many others that we listen to. We took our cues from this book right here, whether we read it or not. Just so y'all know. Just so you know. As a matter of fact, I saw something yesterday that made me think of this book. I was actually on my way home from somewhere, and I saw a black boy. I'm going to say boy because I don't think he was quite an adult. He looked kind of young to be even in his 20s. He looked like he was a teenager in a black dress. And that is covered in one of these chapters. Actually, it's covered heavily in one chapter, and then it's sprinkled out and through some other chapters as well. I kid you not. When I saw that, I said, ISIS papers. That chapter. When I saw that. And this is a book that was written or published back in the early 90s. and it was based off of her literature or some documents that she wrote, some papers that she wrote back in the 70s and throughout the 70s and throughout the 80s. A lot of the stuff that she talks about in this book, a whole lot of the stuff she talks about in this book has come to fruition today when it comes to Black people in particular. Also with PC as well, because she was in there talking about their low birth rates and genetic annihilation. You're gonna see, if you read that book, you're gonna hear about genetic annihilation a lot, or see that a lot in that throughout this book. And what do you know? Their birth rates are low at the moment. They're on the decline. They're on a steady decline. Crystal says CJ is not meant to be breezed through. You read something, think and reflect and continue. Exactly. It's not one of those books that you just read. It's not like you're flipping through and you're just looking through, and then put it down. You really have to ingest and digest what she's saying and what she's talking about. And thank you, Nikki, right there for reiterating the rules. She put the rules back up there. She says you can only participate if you read the entire book and you must stay on subject. Those are the only two rules I have. There's only one person that if they do come in, that I was allowing to come up because they haven't read the book, and the only reason is because they actually had conversations with Dr. Frances Cress Wilson on more than one occasion, so they could give some insight on what it was like in discussions and talking to her, like personally, which a lot of people can't say that they've done. I wish I would have marked these chapters down about which ones I wanted to discuss. I mean, I could discuss the whole thing, but it was one thing that she was talking about in one of the chapters when it was talking about Black people when it came to like interracial, I think interracial dating. I'm trying to see if I can find the chapter that she was talking about. Luckily for me, if I can find the chapter, I can know exactly where at in the book she was talking about this, because it was towards the end of the chapter. One of my favorite chapters, though, when she was talking about chapter 10, this one right here, ball games as symbols, the war of the balls. That was a bit, this one, chapter 10, was a very good chapter. Those of you who have read it know exactly what I'm talking about and why I said that. It's amazing how she could relate a lot of inanimate objects back to Dub S and Black people. It's amazing how she was able to do that. She even did it with cigarettes. She said in chapter 11, the symbolism of smoking objects. And if you look at the dates right here, it has the month and the year. The month and the year of when she wrote this, on when she wrote these documents. So you're talking about 40 years ago, when a lot of this stuff was written by her, that she just compiled into a book. I'm trying to see if I can still find it, because I really wanted to talk about that. Renegade said, what a coincidence. I just started reading this book again this morning for the second time. She was basically like, when it came to like, when she was talking about the ball, she was talking about how, like, relating it back to the color of the ball, like the golf ball being a white ball and it's a small white ball. And then when you think of all the other balls that are of color and they're bigger, like the basketball. Did she mention about the hockey puck? Like, she just related it like the size of a ball and related it back to genetics. Theory said how she explained the gun as a penis. Yes. Now, I've heard that before. I've heard about that before. And then when she drew it out as a diagram, let me see if I can find that. Oh yeah, here it is. The guns is symbols. Right here. This is what I'm talking about. This is the diagrams that she drew up. And if you look at how they're drawn, what do they look like? It looks like a penis. She has 4 diagrams going from left to right. Let me see, left to right. Yep, right here. Nikki the guy said yes because black men and white men are obsessed with the black man's body. And yes, she was talking about castrations and putting the black man's penises inside of the mason jars. I've heard all about all of that, but it's very interesting that you can read about it and then get a dissection of why they did it. Kay Crofter said they called it the equalizer. Nikki said, "Can I turn this into a series on my page?" Well, I would have to look into like reading more books, but like so I can actually do that, and then turn it into like a playlist like I do like with the other kind of series of videos that I have. RG Titan said I have to get that book. Please do. I'm telling you, once you get it, you're not going to be able to put it down. Like it's a lot of knowledge in here. Chapter 7, what Freud was really talking about with the concept of penis envy. We've all heard that one before. Now, I think this is one of the shorter chapters. Remember, I was telling you about how there was a short chapter? I think this is that one. I think this chapter is like 5 pages, but it's a lot in this 5 pages. The Atavist said this book is PhD level reading for all Black people who are sincere about defeating RWS. The accuser says the ISIS paper is in audio format on YouTube. That I did not know, but you know what? I'm glad I didn't listen to audio because I like flipping through the pages and reading it. Sometimes I think audiobooks can be cheating in a way, but if you're a person that wants to listen to something on the go, then it's also good to have on the back end. Nikki the guy said, my friend just started a new job and he had to quit because white men kept referring to body parts. See? And notice how I always keep telling people that PC is not far removed from their ancestry. What Nikki just said is exactly what I'm referring to, and then some. Renegade said mandatory reading. I wholeheartedly agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. And if you have children, I would highly suggest to start having them read it as soon as they possibly can, as soon as they can start reading more bigger words, because there's a lot of big words in here, because you got to think she was a psychiatrist, so she used a lot of big words. She used a lot of big words in here. Let me see. Oh, now this is the chapter right here that I'm sure a lot of people in the academy did not like. The politics behind Black male passivity, effeminization, bisexuality, and homosexuality, August 1974. And when I saw this, and I saw that boy walking down the street with that dress on, this was the chapter I thought of. This was the chapter that I thought of. Like I said, if anybody in the chat has already read the book and they want to come up and discuss, the link is pinned to the top. Y'all can come right on in. Like I said, all I ask is that you read the book and that you stay on topic and not go off topic. Don't even come up and say Tareen off topic. We staying on topic of this book. Then chapter 5, for all of my heavily religious people out there, specifically those who are Christians, chapter 5 is dedicated to you. The symbolism of Christ, the cross, the crucifix, the communion. This chapter in Christian holidays, this chapter was so thick that she had it took her 2 different years to put all and compile this one chapter together. Bonafide said, what did I buy the book? I got it off Amazon. I got this book on Amazon. I bought it on Amazon. Oh, chapter 23. Chapter 23 was a very good one. Now, this chapter right here, this one, I think out of all the chapters that I read in this book, outside of the one when they was talking about black men, in the academy, chapter 23, the crisis in black male, black female relationships. Is it a false problem? July 1985. With this one right here, I feel like was a personal message to the divestors and those people who individual, I guess you can say the male divestors. This chapter right here is dedicated to you. It even starts off with this is disenchantment with the institution of marriage, disharmony, disrespect, separation, divorce. Single female headed households has become the norm. This is 1985, y'all. Single female headed households, the absence of male models for developing black male children and youth, epidemic levels of teenage pregnancy, thousands of children abandoned to foster care and adoption, black male bisexuality and homosexuality, black female bisexuality and homosexuality, increasing numbers of black females with more education and income than their black male counterparts. What did a lot of these black so-called highly educated women be saying today? Oh, we got more degrees, we're more educated, and all this. All of this is in the first paragraph of the chapter. Hardly any black persons knowing 5 happy black couples. Bonafide Hustler, you just bought it, comes next week. Dope. So we got somebody who got inspired to hit that purchase button. Adavis said that you read it in 1993. Oh, so you read it about 2 years after the book came out, so it was still very fresh when you read it. It's crazy. This book is, I think it came out in 91, so it is 32 years old. This is a 32-year-old book that has documents in it from the 80s and 70s. So while this book came out 3 decades ago, the stuff that's put in the book, or the narratives that are in the book, predate it. This was 91 was just the publishing date. But look at when this one was written, 1985. The Adavis said, I called the NFL and NBA the plantation games because of my knowledge from reading this. Y'all know Massa making big bucks off of their big bucks. I like how you phrase that. Theory said her and Shahrazad Ali warned us about this. Oh yeah, that's another queen mother right there, Shahrazad Ali. You know they you know who they are. They hate her. Now look at this. Now this is in that same chapter of black female and black male relationships. Now I know they're not going to do this part. This part is pretty much dead in the water. They said, it says Fuller. Now this one she's talking about Neely Fuller. She said Fuller suggests that the most critical question is how black males and black females spread their time and energy, how they use each of their 24 hours in the day. He recommends constructive conversation, constructive work, sufficient eating and sleeping, and sexual intercourse no more than twice a week. Pinky said, I'm placing my order tomorrow. Nice. Like I said, if anybody in the chat has the book or they read the entire book and they want to come up and discuss it, please be sure to do so. This is not just me talking. I can give you the opportunity to come up and speak your piece on it as well, because I want to hear everybody else's interpretations, and then we just kind of bounce off of each other and just turn it into like a conversation. Chapter 24. Black women moving towards the 21st century. Before I even read this chapter, I kind of already had an idea where she was headed with it. May 1975. This one right here, chapter 22, Black child parents, the new factor in Black genocide. Basically talking about Black uh, children having children, teenage pregnancy, having kids when you are still in high school or should be in high school. But it was one part in this book where she broke down as a doctor what kind of things she heard from Black teens who were having children or who were pregnant and about to have children or had children. Now I'm going to read to you what she gave. She gave 12 of them. And these are all quotes from kids that she spoke with. Dr. Welsing, I'm 16. I know I'm grown. Dr. Welsing, I'm going to have my baby. Nobody's going to take my baby from me. I'm not going to let those doctors kill my baby. I'm not going to have no abortion. Dr. Welsing, all my friends have babies. I want something of my own too. I'm not going to have an abortion. I'm going to love my baby. Dr. Welsing, my baby's going to love me. I want somebody to love me. My mother and father don't love me. Nobody loves me. My parents act like teenagers. They don't know what they are doing. Dr. Welsing, I know I can take care of a baby. No, Dr. Welsing, my boyfriend doesn't have any job, but he's going to take care of me and my baby. He says he can. He's 17. He's going to get us an apartment. No, we didn't finish school. We don't go to school anymore, which means they dropped out. I mean, we go, but we go to no classes. Dr. Welsing, if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have no baby when I'm young. I just didn't know no better. So now, if you notice how the transition is, you go from people who want to have children to those who have children to those who are regretting it. It's like literally like it's almost like a transitionary thing. Dr. Welsing, my boyfriend, he's gone. So now she's a single mother. I thought he wanted the baby too. Dr. Welsing, I'm 19. My boyfriend, he's 19. He gets mad at my baby. It's our baby. When he cries, he hits the baby one time. Sometimes I feel like hitting the baby too. Dr. Welsing, I just didn't know how to be a father. I never had my own father at home. Dr. Welsing, my girlfriend can take care of that baby by herself with the welfare. And the last one says, Dr. Welsing, my mother had me when she was 15. I don't see why she's telling me I don't want my baby. I don't see why I can't do what she did. It was one thing for her to write this chapter, but it was very interesting that she inserted actual quotes from teenagers at that time who came to her and told her these things. And she incorporated this so people can get an example of what she was really, hearing. And I said, after I read that, I said, I bet you she's heard way more than just these. But these are the ones she chose to put in. And it was only 12 quotes. I bet you she could have did a whole chapter just dedicated to just these quotes. Yeah, Black Voltron, it is very sad. Though, a lot of people don't understand, when you like with teenage pregnancy, this is what you deal with. And that was back then. Nowadays, they get a little bit more help. Somewhat. Joel, the middle child, said, my sister gave that excuse when I asked her I wanted to be loved. So see, we have a real life example from someone who said their sister gave an example, which was one of the quotes that she gave, that she wanted to be loved. So she said she's not getting love, or this person said they weren't getting love from at home. So they felt that if they had a child, they would be able to that child would be able to love them. It was almost like the child was filling a void that they were not getting from their parents. And in that moment, that is a sad thing, because your parents should be the first people to say that I love you, the first people to comfort and care for you. And that person felt like they weren't getting that. So in order to feel that comfort that they weren't getting, they had a child, not realizing that it was going to be much more intense than that. Can somebody get Christ, Truth, Freedom up out of here? Because I think they're trolling. I think that Christ, Truth, Freedom is trolling. And what else I saw in this chapter is how in one of the quotes she said that one of the girls said that her mother was a teenage mother. She had her when she was 15, so she feels that she can repeat the cycle and have a child at the same age or around the same age because that's what her mother did, not realizing that her mother went through a lot of turmoil as a teenage mother, and she didn't want her to repeat the cycle, but she wants to repeat the cycle. And the thing is, if you have a child and that child becomes a teen parent like you did, now it's going to turn into what is called a generational curse. If you repeat that cycle, now it has turned into a generational curse. If you have your mother or your father being teen parents and having you as a teenager, and you go out and you get pregnant, if you're a female or you are male and you get another woman pregnant or another girl pregnant, now it has become a generational curse because now it is snowballed into another generation. And that's also talked about in this chapter. This one chapter that I'm stuck on right here. CBP film said I got to read the ice papers again. Hey, like I said, if you got to do it again as a refresher, please go ahead and do so. That's why I'm doing this live today, because I just finished reading the book this week. That's why I'm doing this live today, because I wanted the stuff to be fresh in my head, in my mind, while I was reading, before I came on here, and I had too much time pass before doing it. Let's see if I can flip to another chapter. Oh, shout out to Keith Weston for the super chat. He said, very powerful session, my good brother at Torian Rain Reloaded, even though you were Regina. I understand you. Thank you, family B1 salute. I appreciate it. All right, let me see if I can find something else to discuss here. Like I said, there's so much here to talk about. David said, Torian, your idea to do this as a discussion is brilliant. Thank you. I appreciate it. I told myself, because I remember when I had announced on Twitter that I was going to get this book and read it, people were saying, "Oh, you need to do a video like reviewing it or talking about it." And I said, "You know what, I am, but I don't want to do it as a pre-recorded video. I wanted to do it as a live stream. That way, it's real time. That way, y'all can see me, I can see y'all, and it's like it feels more engaging that way." So that's why I decided to do it as a live stream instead of that. Now, here's something interesting right here, and this is going on the chapter called The Symbolism and Meaning of Rape. Look at this diagram right here. Y'all see this? So you see a diagram at the top. This is the gun right here. We know that's the gun, but this one right here is the bomb. Yep, the bomb. Now, what billionaire just went up into space last year in a rocket that's shaped like this? Someone put it in the chat. What billionaire went into space in a rocket that's shaped like this? When I saw that, I immediately said the person's name. 225 girl said Elon. Nope, not Elon. Thank you. Spidey got it right. Jeff Bezos. If y'all remember, Jeff Bezos went up inside of a rocket to go to the edge of the earth, because I don't think he went all the way into space. And his rocket looked like this. It was Jeff Bezos, former owner of Amazon. Y'all can go and look it up if y'all want to. When I saw this picture, I said, oh, that's Jeff Bezos' rocket. Elon Musk and Richard Branson, they pretty much all went up around the same time. But Jeff Bezos, his looked like this. Oh, we got another super chat. Shout out to Mike Millis John for the super chat. B1 and rest in power, Dr. Welsing. Most definitely. No, Spidey, he does not own Amazon anymore. He has not owned Amazon for probably like a year now. But he's still, of course, he's still getting paid off of it for sure. Nikki, the guy said, when you bring this up, it reminds me of those short white guys in those big trucks. Lloyd Scott said Austin Powers made a reference with the spaceship as well. I think he did. I think he definitely did. I'm not sure which Austin Powers movie that was, though. Felberry Sand said the same guy whose wife just donated all that money to Planned Parenthood. His money, might I add, because that wasn't her money. That was his money. Let's see what else can I talk about in here. This right here, if y'all get this book, be prepared to see this often throughout the book. Not the diagram itself, but within what's in the diagram. And this is basically the diagram of the white supremacy diagram. And I'm going to read to you what it says. It's called the global system of white supremacy, and ironically, it's in the shape of a circle. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. You're going to see these words sprinkled through pretty much every chapter of this book. I promise you that. You're going to see these words in every chapter. And basically what she's saying is all of the stuff that's right here is dominated by what's outside of this circle, which is what's also within, which is dub S. They dominate all of this. Now, which one's more than the other? I don't know. But they dominate all of that. English Overstreet said, way ahead. Definitely way ahead of her time. Way ahead of it. Accuser, I think healthcare is mentioned in one or a couple of these chapters as well, because I think remember healthcare being mentioned in one of these chapters. Nikki the guy said, how many of you have read the first few chapters? That's a question to the chat. 225 girl said everything in that diagram, we're basically seeing this happen in real time. Everything in this book we're seeing happen in real time, honestly. But yes, you are right. Everything in that diagram we have been seeing in real time. And the question, not the question, and the crazy thing about it is there's so much more to come. This is hardly the end. Marcus Bolden said you got the book. Mystic said he read it, or they read it. I'm not sure if that's a man or a woman. Read it back in 95. And like I said, if y'all get the book and y'all are just now reading it, read a chapter a day. I promise you, it's not going to cue you to read a chapter a day. Because that's that was my routine. I would go to the gym, come back home, and read my chapter and go about my day. That's literally how my routine was getting through this book. I got so invested in the book that when I got to the last chapter and how it ended, I'm thinking it was going to be more. I was like, oh, this is the end? DeAndre McCline said that's why the white media hated her. She was smart and just incredible. They hate a lot of our black scholars, probably all of them, because they're putting out stuff that goes against their narrative and is pushing back against whatever propaganda they put out there. Like I said, the link is posted up there. If anyone wants to come in and they've already read the book, y'all can come right on up and give your thoughts. The link is posted, is pinned right at the top of the chat. All you got to do is click it, come in, and I'll let you in, and you can let me know your thoughts. Joel said you ordered the book last week. Cool. I can't wait for you to crack that thing open. And like I said, when you read this book, it's like it awakens your mind even more. It's like, wow, like if you see something in real time, like in real life, you're like, wow, I remember reading it about it in this book, in this chapter. Now, I wanted to I think I just found something interesting to talk about when she was talking about white males and them tanning. It says white males believe they look more virile and attractive when suntan, brown, or bronze. This belief is maintained despite the fact that each year in the U.S. alone, there are 300,000 new cases of skin cancer caused primarily by whites attempting to tan their pale skin into greater attractiveness. What if we talk? And you have a lot, and we see that today, that a lot of white people, a lot of PC people, man and woman, keep trying to make their skin darker or tan or do that thing. Rachel Dolezal ring a bell? Does Rachel Dolezal ring a bell? Miss Transracial herself. CBP film. You said, how about we read a chapter live? I don't know how to. I wonder how the chat would feel about that. We would be here. We would be here all night if we did that. Because the point of it was for people to have already read it. Great. So I'm not even going to try to get off topic about reading that comment that Great Soul left. I don't know why. Do y'all want me to read a chapter? Do y'all want me to read a chapter? Watch, I bet you a lot of y'all gonna say yes. I already know. I'm waiting on it. Y'all probably typing yes as I'm looking. Just like I thought. Yes. Okay. Now I gotta see what chapter. Okay, I'm seeing people say yes. Some said English Overstreet says not a whole chapter. Root Trackers by Yara said have some come up and read a page. Nick said either read a chapter or an excerpt that stands out or is very relevant to today. That could be the whole book, Nikki, honestly. Okay. So let me see if I can find, if I can find one. Okay. Okay. I'm still trying to find an excerpt to read. Okay, I think I found one. I think I found one, or an excerpt to read from a particular chapter, and it's going to be chapter 21, titled Racism in Black Child Youth and Youth Inferiorization. Now, I'm only going to be reading the points. It's on page 256. So if y'all have y'all book, y'all can follow along. So it starts off saying, additionally, Black people must recognize the following points. 1. The war of white genetic survival achieves a major effect through inferiorization or failed psychosocial development, creating dependency, negative self-image, negative self-concept, and vulnerability. 2. The war of white genetic survival attacks the functioning of Blacks in general, but most specifically attacks the Black male, as it is the Black male who most specifically threatens white genetic survival at a level the Black female is unable to approach. 3. Blacks must learn to counter the thrust of white supremacy and Black inferiorization effectively. 4. Blacks must discuss openly those means by which Black male infants, children, and youth can be supported and developed at maximally in order to counter the attack of white supremacy on Black male development and functioning. 5. Black male infants, children, and youth need their fathers constantly present to support the behavior and identity of Black male children. And because of the historic removal of Black fathers from homes, classes are needed to promote high-level functioning of Black males in their roles as fathers. 6. The white supremacy attack on the Black male causes a collapse of Black family life and a distortion in the role of the Black female. This, in turn, causes a distortion and collapse of the support system for Black infants, children, and youth, thereby beginning the process of inferiorization. 7. Blacks must think and openly discuss not how to beg white people to stop racism, because white people will have to continue their efforts for white genetic survival, but instead how Black people can organize their own behavior on an ongoing basis, specifically to neutralize white supremacy and its impact on the development of Black offspring. 8. It is futile to beg white people to give grants and funds to foster the maximal development of Black people. To do so is to ask white people to commit white genocide. 9. Blacks must be able to discuss openly the logical necessity for Black inferiorization and whites' struggle for white genetic survival. 10. The singing of We Shall Overcome will not combat white supremacy or Black inferiorization any more than singing any song will help to solve a problem in medicine or physics. 11. Immature and overwhelmed fathers and mothers cannot promote psychosocial development and counter Black inferiorization in the next generation. 12. Single teenagers cannot promote psychosocial development in male or female offspring. And most certainly, they cannot develop male offspring. They can only prepare these male offspring to spend their lives in penal institutions while preparing their own daughters to become teenage mothers. 13. No Black female should become a mother before 30 years of age. No black male should become a father before 35 years of age. Family should have no more than 2 children, no closer together than 3 years apart. And both black males and females should, at a minimum, complete high school and become fully self-sufficient before marriage and parenthood. These structures are specifically for purpose of countering the thrust of black inferiorization and failed psychosocial development under the conditions of white supremacy. 14. Maximal development of black genetic and constitutional potential will take place by the efforts of black people alone through their knowledge, understanding, and behavior. That was a lot. It was loaded, but it was a lot. Now I'm gonna be honest. Point 13, a lot of black people definitely didn't do that one. The part where she's talking about no black female should become a mother before 30, and no black male should become a father before the age of 35, and having no more than 2 children. That point right there, I know a lot of black people would not fall into that category. That was a very good chapter. And by the way, the name of that chapter, I think I already said the name of it though. Hold on, but just in case y'all didn't catch it, Racism and Black Child Inferiorization. That was the chapter. Let's see if there's anything else in here. That's why I said I wish I would have highlighted some of this stuff as I was going along. But I got so wrapped up into it. It is what it is. Okay, I can read something from chapter 23. Because whites fear white genetic annihilation, and because only males can initiate sexual intercourse forcefully, during slavery, black males were oppressed more harshly than black females. This pattern of greater pressure on the non-white male is historic and continues. This explains why black males are victimized harshly by police brutality and arrest, and also illuminates why they are victimized more harshly by the educational system. Because of their extreme victimization in these 2 areas, black males have the highest levels of unemployment and underemployment, the highest rates of prison incarceration, the highest incidence of school failure and school dropout rates, the highest incidence of alcoholism, the highest rates of drug use and addiction, the highest homicide rates, the most rapidly increasing suicide rate, and the shortest lifespan. Also, the black male most often finds himself outside of the black family in the epidemic condition of homelessness. And that came out of chapter 23. All of this that we're literally, that's coming from this book, and she wrote about this in 1985, is playing out today. It's all playing out today. And someone had asked me on Twitter what was my biggest takeaway. If y'all follow me on Twitter, y'all saw what I said. I said the biggest takeaway from this is that dub is the foundation of the effery that's going on in society. Point blank, period. I don't think that you can really pinpoint or anywhere else where this is not applied. Nikki said, "My brothers are in their 30s and haven't had children." Well, they definitely have. Well, they definitely fall into point 13. So Royal Juice Box said that last point about homelessness was spot on. Yeah, it's sad, and so crazy. When I went to LA last month, I was taken to Skid Row, and it is so. I think I said it in my live stream when I talked about my trip to LA. It is so depressing. Those of you who have seen Skid Row with your own set of eyes, it is so depressing because a lot of the people that's on Skid Row look like us, and a lot of them are black men. It's very, very depressing. Skid Row is depressing. Let's see if there's anything else that I can read about. Let me go back to chapter 1 and work my way up. What's going on, Kid Gravity, Afro Lee? Shout out to everybody who came into the chat that I didn't acknowledge yet. Like I said, I'm like reading some of the chapters or some stuff from the chapters, so it's hard for me to kind of like look at the chat and read at the same time. The Adavist said, I remember, but I tweeted about Black people's collective consciousness is called melanin activation by me. This interpretation was definitely inspired by the ISIS papers. That's dope. Chris G said America doesn't give a damn about Black men, especially good Black men. You're right about that. I can't even argue that point. Now, this is an interesting chapter right here. What chapter is this? Chapter 5, the symbolism of Christ, the cross, and the crucifix. And I think I mentioned that earlier. And how, look at this, how they have literally said that the cross is basically the symbol, almost like a phallic symbol. If you look at it, let me put it right here. Another diagram, another picture right here, basically showing that. And this one again kind of talks about white genetic survival again. If you get this book and haven't read it already, you're going to hear or see white genetic survival throughout the chapters as well. You're going to see that a lot. Is that the basic discussion of the white genetic survival through the possession and control of the Black male genital apparatus is carried forth consciously in the precepts and practices of the global white supremacy system's primary religion, which is Christianity. These fundamental concepts are manifested in Christianity's central pattern of symbols. In fact, it is in religious activity that the highest level of symbolic discussion emerges. Whereas the testicles are those aspects of the male anatomy that contain the dominant genetic material, the penis is the aspect that transports the genetic material, which initiates the production of life and skin color. If one were to make a simple schematic diagram of the genital organs, of the male anatomy, that diagram might look like diagram 1, which is this one right here. Oh, we got someone just decided to grace us with their presence. Kid Gravity, what's going on?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I just got off the plantation. I don't like none of y'all. You people that like brunch in the South. I don't like y'all.
What's going on?
None, man. I gotta give you your, because most people would not do anything matter.
Huh?
I'm saying I gotta give you your flowers because most people do this subject matter. They won't talk about Dr. because that's like taboo.
Oh, well, you know how we do it over here. We're
Yes, sir.
not we're not normal.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. We're not normal. But I just wanted to hop on real quick, do that, and I need to ask a favor. Well, not a favor, but I need to ask you something.
Is it something you need to like send me or
No,
like
it's a open.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm home now, and I'm gonna do my video on Juneteenth, specifically about how Opal Lee doing that that little video about Biden giving her that pen, how this opened the door for everything. Am I allowed because I'm non-FBA, or should I just stay away from that?
You said you wanted to do a video on Juneteenth?
Specifically about Opal Lee and how when she got that pen from Biden, that opened up the doors for everybody to basically co-opt it. I'm basically blaming her for all this.
Well, I don't see a issue with it. I mean, if you're calling out,
but I just
if you're
saying because I'm
calling out
not
effery,
FBA, and I know FBA people get mad at me if I do something like that. I'm gonna go in on it.
I mean, I don't have an issue with it.
Okay. I just asked you because you're a leading voice in new black media, so I just want to. I mean, when I get heat, I'm still not gonna say that Torian said it was okay. I'm gonna leave you out of it.
Well, they already gonna see this, so I mean, it is what it is. I think we lost him. His connection went out. Shout out to Dyson. He sent me a super chat. He said, I need to go and get this book. Yes, for those of you who have not gotten this book, I highly suggest that you go and do that ASAP. This book it's a lot of knowledge in this book. And like I said, I'm only reading pieces of it, not entire chapters. But when you get the book and read the entire thing, it's going to change your landscape. Trust me, it's going to change your mental landscape. Oh, you're back. And I can't even hear you. I don't know what's going on with your sound. It's not coming through. Yeah, Spidey, the book is, like I said, the book is affordable. The book, last time I checked, was like $13.99. It is very affordable. It is very affordable.
Is that better?
Are you back? Yeah.
All right. My fault, man. A lot of dead spots in this city. I don't know why. But I was saying, I'm not gonna put you into it because I'm just gonna say what I'm gonna say in that video. I'm gonna make people mad. I'm just gonna warn people now.
I mean, okay. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'll check it out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still trying to debate on how hard I should go. Like, I don't know if I should put the wig on.
That's up to you.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we got. When is Dr. Wilson's birthday again? I keep forgetting.
I gotta look it up. March 18th.
March 18th. Okay, March 18th. All right, cool. I still don't understand how she doesn't have her own day.
We can make our own day. That's what I did for Malcolm X and Christopher Dorner in the same, and I did it for what's his name? Micah Johnson and Gavin Long, which their days are actually coming up soon because that's going to be next month, like the middle of July, I believe. So yeah. I make up my own days, and people want to follow suit. Hey, it is what it is. It's almost like an open door policy right there.
More than merry. Yeah, I still gotta do my video on Christopher Dorner. It made the white supremacists mad.
Yeah,
that man is a hero.
But hey, listen, if there's nothing, not like kind of push you off, but if there's nothing else you can contribute to what I'm talking about, then
yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. All right. I think someone had wrote something in the chat. They had wanted me to read the first paragraph of chapter 7. Okay, I see it. It says, and chapter 7 is entitled, and shout out to Kid Gravity, by the way. Chapter 7 was called What Freud Was Really Talking About with the Concept of Penis Envy. And this document was written in February 1975. It says, every social system, including its reflected culture, has a priority objective, whether that objective is articulated clearly or disguised hypocritically. In the final analysis, a social system is a behavioral system consisted of specifically designed patterns of behavior, patterns of logic, thought, speech, action, and emotional response, structured both consciously and unconsciously, which are used as social tools to achieve the priority objective of a people. These behavior patterns are carried forth in all areas of people activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Remember how I was telling you in that wheel that I showed you in that diagram with those points when it's in and what white supremacy dominated over? Again, in this chapter, in that diagram I showed you earlier, it wasn't even in this chapter. And when they were talking about penis envy, it wasn't in the necessary way that we have talked about it over time. Maybe some of us have, but some of us haven't. But she was coming at it in a way also when it was talking about more so the white female and how she wanted to be on the same playing field as the white man, that she started walking around like she had a penis of herself, of her own. It actually states right here. Let me see where it is, because I just saw it. I just saw it. Where is it at? My concentration here is the topic of penis envy, a major cornerstone of the Freudian edifice. In other chapters, I discuss the Oedipal complex, Oedipal complex, and castration anxiety. In brief, according to Freudian psychological theory, the little white girl is struck with an intense sense of loss and injury, and with envy of the white male when she realizes that her clitoris is an inferior organ to the male's penis, wishing that she too had such a fine penis. Presumably, she is not satisfied until she has a penis of her own or some symbolic form of a penis. A major segment of the female's personality is presumed to be predicated on this traumatic realization. So she was talking about it from the aspect of how, and she was talking about the white female walked around wishing that she had a penis like the white male, and that's where the envy came from. That's why I think that's also a huge reason as to why you had like the feminist movement and stuff like that, because that was their way of trying to be on the same level as their man. Now, the other part was when she was talking about the guns as symbols. I think some people wanted me to talk about that particular chapter, and I'm actually like skimming through it right now. Um, it says right here, it should be made clear here that black male's genital apparatus is the most feared relative to the genital apparatus of other non-white males, because in possessing the greatest potential to produce melanin, the pigment responsible for all true skin coloration, black males have the greatest genetic potential to annihilate the global white minority. That's a loaded statement right there. It's a little small paragraph, but that's a very loaded statement. It says the individual and collective white brain computer given that task of solving the global problem of white genetic survival eventually evolved a solution in the form of a technology that would address the specific issue of white genetic and genital weakness and inadequacy. Thus, to the extent that the guns manufactured and made by the white collective in the context of the white supremacy system and culture were used against blacks and other genetically dominated colored people on earth, they became the answer, at least a temporarily comforting answer, to the great fear of white genetic annihilation. The gun became not only the weapon, the developed technology to ensure the white genetic survival, but it also became the symbolic white penis. Thus, it is no accident that white males often refer to one another as son of a gun. This is a symbolically determined pattern of speech, and I'm certain that white males who use it have not understood in depth why such a phrase entered and remains in their brain computers. This phrase deprecates the white male genital apparatus that fathers white people with the genetically deficient state of albinism. She even used the Washington Monument as a diagram, as you can see right here. This is supposed to be the Washington Monument. Now we all know what it's supposed to look like. Barrington, where is the doctor's unpublished work? That's a good question. I have no clue where her unpublished work is. DeCarlo said because she had penis envy, she made her male children have the Electra complex, which is feminization of males who crave to become female. That's why we now have so many feminized male and trans males. And it's funny that you said that because one of these chapters actually talks about that, how her having this penis envy did lead to a lot of her boys having that complex that you just mentioned. I don't know if she mentioned it as Electra complex, but I do remember one of the chapters talking about that. Isaac said, "Don't read the book." I'm not really reading the book live. I'm only like reading like excerpts of it. I'm not sitting here reading the entire book. Nah, I wouldn't come on here and do that. I'm actually just like combing through. You know what's so funny? Chapter 9, when the title of the chapter says the motherfucker in the original motherfucker, and it says right here the term motherfucker is a pattern of speech used with extremely high frequency amongst black people, specifically black males in the US. Now I got a question for you, another quiz. What black male celebrity is known for using that word in like every movie that they're in? Like it's pretty much become their base word. Like this person came to my mind immediately when I read that sentence. I want to see who's going to get it first. Lloyd Sky 9 said Sam. Sam who? All right, 225 girl said Samuel L. Jackson. That guy literally uses that word in pretty much almost every movie that he's in. Pretty much, just about. To the point where it's almost like you would think that he invented the word. Black Voltron said Bernie Mac. Yes, Bernie Mac is, I would say, is up there too, but I said Sam Jackson because I think I heard him say it more. Bernie Mac, I wouldn't say that Bernie Mac he was known more for his stand-up rather than his films. Because I think he was more, his stand-up was more out there than his films. Not to slight any of the films that he's done, but Samuel Jackson is an actor. Like he's a movie star. But I would say Sam Jackson. So when she put that right there in the sentence about that term and how it's used about a lot of black people, especially black males in the US, Samuel Jackson came to mind immediately. And the accuser said, I think it's in his contract. I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because it's crazy because whenever you go see a movie and he's in it, you're almost expecting that he's going to say it. And when he says it, and when he does say it, the crowd just kind of laughs because it's become his signature word. Nisha says Samuel is more famous for it. I agree. I would agree. And like I said, that's not taking anything away from Bernie Mac or any other black male in entertainment who says that word. But Samuel Jackson is really known for saying it to the point where people look forward to him saying it at least once in every role that he does. 225 girl said, my dad, RIP, he loved a lot of Samuel Jackson's movies because he cussed a lot, or the way he says it. Yeah, it's not just also him saying the word. It's like you said, how he enunciated it. How he says it is amazing. I'm sure if you went on YouTube and typed in Samuel L. Jackson, a compilation of him saying that word, you would probably get a good laugh. V. Marco said, too many snakes on this MF. Yep. I think it was that role on Snakes on the Plane that really solidified him saying that word. And people looking forward to him saying it was probably in that Snakes on the Plane role. It could have been before, but I think it was more on that role in particular. Let me see if I can find anything else. Mr. King said there's one on YouTube. I kind of figured it was. I knew it had to be one. I wonder how long it is. I wonder how long that comp is. I might look that up after I'm done with this stream. DeCarlo said Pulp Fiction, he had it on his wallet. Now, this one right here is a very interesting excerpt from the chapter about the ball games as symbols. It says the suggestion here is that all ball games in the white supremacy system and culture similarly play out at an unconscious level, dominant political concerns. The fundamental power concern in the white supremacy system and culture is white genetic survival through white supremacy domination. Such domination can be established and maintained only if white males and females, total white collective, control all of the balls, testicles of non-white men on and on, off and on the playing fields and ball courts. In other words, the name of the real game, the power game, is continuous worldwide. Control of the testicles of all non-white men by white males and females as the only means of ensuring white genetic survival in a world where the melanin producing genetic material of non-whites is dominant. Without control of the non-white genetic material, whites will be annihilated genetically. It's just amazing. Her wordplay and how she's able to put this stuff together was just phenomenal. It was just phenomenal how she was able to put all of this together. Like she basically compared sports games and sporting events to white genetic survival. Tracy R. Nelson said, interesting. Look at all the sports owners, they are Caucasian. Exactly. Exactly. They said the real name of the game is power. Power. Oh, hold on. We got someone that just came in. Black Voltron, what's going on? Black Voltron, can you hear me? Because it's a black. I know you usually have a black screen anyway, but there's no sound coming through on your end. I don't know what's going on your end because there's nothing coming through on this side. Try it again. Spidey says some of the owners are Arab too. Yeah, like that. What's that football team? No, the guy who used to own that now dead network, the Black News Channel, the BNC. The one who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's Arab. Joel said also the false sense of accomplishment. People focus on how many black entertainers and athletes make millions compared to the ones that pay them. Black Voltron, can you hear me? Or can you? Because I can't hear you. I have no clue what's going on your side. And this isn't the first time this is happening. $225 girl, Shah Khan. Yep, that's the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he used to be the owner of that failed down in the dumpster fire now, BNC. She said, who I refer to as Saddam Hussein's twin brother. He does kind of look like him. Now that you say that. K Croft is 99 said Dr. Francis Cress Wilson said it's like a chessboard. The white piece goes first. I remember that. That was in one of the more later chapters. That was almost towards the end of the book. I remember that. That's why it clicked so hard for me, like not hard for me, so easy for me when you said that. But yes, about the chessboard, the white piece is going first, and they have to, protect, for those of you, I don't want to spoil it. Get the book if you haven't already, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about with the chessboard pieces. Here's something else. Is that some of these highly symbolic ball games are played with white balls and others are played with colored balls, usually black or brown. Generally, the white balls are small in size, whereas the colored balls, and when she said small in size, I immediately thought of the golf ball. And we think of golf outside of Tiger Woods, it's pretty much 99% PC. Let's be real here. It says this is the white balls are small in size, where the color balls are much larger in size, paralleling the respective genetic power in the white and colored testicles. Currently, the most popular games, those that attract most male attention, are played with big brown balls, footballs, and basketballs. This rise in popularity of colored balls parallels the rise in power at the global level of the third world or non-white nations. So she made a point there. When she said brown balls, you gotta think, your basketball is more orange or brown, depending on what style it is. Then you have your football, which is brown. Even the hockey puck, even though it's not a ball, but it is used to score a goal, is bigger than the golf ball. Yes, Mr. King, billiards. The balls on the pool table. You got to get all the balls into the pockets. The last ball remaining is the black 8 ball to determine, and it's knocked in there by a white ball. You can even use a bowling ball. At one point, all bowling balls were black before they started making the multiple colors. But what happens? She said multiple colors. And what colors are the pins? They're white. And what's the goal? To knock down all the pins and hopefully get a strike. Try knocking down a bowling pin with a golf ball. Good luck. She even referenced she said footballs, baseball, soccer balls, handballs, golf balls, ping pong, earth balls, hockey pucks. Oh, check this one out. Also, as white females demand their liberation from white males in order to become co-equals in running the global system of white supremacy, they simultaneously seek an expression of this equality by participating in all of the ball games, including football and basketball. At the same time, white females step up their sexual aggression toward black and other non-white males, greatly increasing the incidence of white female, black male marriages. In these arrangements, the white female obtains control of the black and other non-white male balls. Non-white males and females are powerless under the global system of white supremacy domination. All right, that's okay. Black Voltron, you say you still got some technical issues. You tried. Brooklyn Queen said bowling pins have red necks. I didn't pick up on that. I'm glad you said that. It's interesting you said that because the bowling pin at the neck or at the top has 2 red stripes going around this part of, like, if I'm using myself as an example. If I was a bowling pin, it's right here and it's like 2 red stripes that goes around. Good observation. I didn't pick up on that until you said something. Tracy said, I remember when she was on Donahue when those Caucasians were attacking her, but she held her own in school dads. Of course she did. When you have knowledge like this, you cannot be outwitted. She was so clever that she could have turned this on them. Just like Dr. Khalid Muhammad. I love looking at his interviews. A lot of times they get a good laugh because he had Dub S tripping and slipping and tongue juggling up on there. Like they couldn't get their words out for nothing. And he was a regular on Donahue. They may have hated that man, but when he was on there, them ratings was high. Because let's be real here, they wanted to see him check white people. They loved it. They loved seeing him check on PC people. And that's probably some of the highest ratings from a black demographic that Donahue ever had, was whenever he was on that show. And he made frequent appearances on Donahue. Frequent. It wasn't a one-off thing. He would go on there frequently. Oh, it's funny someone mentioned about billiards because it actually has something in here about that. It's a close examination of specific phenomena in ball games that are popular in the white supremacy culture will support the preceding discussion. In the game of billiards or pool, there are 8 colored balls, a white ball and a long dark stick placed on a table. The object of the game is to use the long stick and causing the white ball to knock all of the colored balls under the table. The last colored ball knocked under the table is the black ball. When the game is over, the white ball is the only ball that remains on top of the table with the long dark stick. Then the game starts again. Let's see if I can find some other stuff in here. She even has a chapter in here about smoking objects like cigarettes and cigars. Of course, you know, when they're thinking about the cigarette, a small, skinny, white stick. But what does the lips have to touch? An orange tip. Something colored, something of color. But with the cigar, long, thick, dark in color. I swear this woman was a genius. This woman was a genius. And she even talks about that phrase that a lot of white women like to use with that tall, dark, and handsome. I always got confused by that statement whenever they would talk about tall, dark, and handsome, they would put a picture up of a white male. I'm like, first off, you can keep the tall and the handsome, but the dark, that belongs to someone who will be black. How in the world did tall, dark, and handsome get applied to white men? Like, that always confused me. That always confused me. Yeah, Tracy, I was just saying that about the cigar, the representation of the cigar to the cigar. Nikki said they claim it is due to the brunette hair. Like anybody was going to think of that. But my thing is this: tall, dark, and handsome. I could have sworn on some of those publications, some of them did not have brunette hair. Some of them had blonde hair. So I'm still confused by how that actually works or how that's supposed to correlate. I don't get it. If y'all see anyone in here y'all think is a troll and y'all have a wrench, y'all know what to do. Oh, I wanted to read this one part from this chapter called Black Fear. It says, if Black behavioral, social, and political scientists are supposed to be incapable of making accurate analysis of behavioral, social, and political situations, local and worldwide, then Black physicians are also incapable of making accurate medical diagnosis, and all Black patients should seek white doctors. This would imply similarity that Black lawyers are incapable of successfully handling legal cases, and all Black law clients should seek white lawyers. Likewise, all Black students should seek white teachers. Furthermore, all Black women should seek husbands seeking husbands should seek white husbands, and all black men seeking wives should seek white wives. This activity would carry such reasoning to its logical, though absurd, conclusions. If we do not wish to imply all of the above, let us get about the business of the black problem solving, beginning with the problem of black oppression under white supremacy. First and foremost, let it be the responsibility of every black person to know and understand how the dynamic of white supremacy domination is expressed in all areas of people activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Basically, what it's saying is, if you feel that black people are incapable of doing the things that they are hired to do, or whatever it is that they should be doing or able to do, then that just means, you know what, if I can't seek it with my own people, then I'm gonna just go out and find it elsewhere. Almost like an escapism tactic. Oh, that didn't work here. Boom, let me just go here. It kind of reminds me of how you have a lot of people, you have some people that have black-owned businesses, and you have a black person that probably had one bad experience with that black-owned business. And instead of just like writing off that one business, they write off all of them and just go seek validation from another business that's non-black. Kind of reminds me of that whole Jim Jones situation with the Gucci store where we had to go in on him a couple months ago. That situation reminds me of what I just read. If it doesn't work one time, or you feel like you had one bad experience with someone who was black, whether it's in a relationship or a business or medical or whatever the case may be, you're ready to not only write off them, but you're ready to write off all of them, because that was it. But my thing is, you'll have bad experiences with other people, but you'll keep going back. As a matter of fact, there was a video that I saw on social, it was a social media, it was on Twitter, where this black woman, she was inside of an Asian salon, whatever, I guess, getting her nails done or whatever. And of course, they accused her of not paying or whatever the case may be. They got into it. They went and locked the doors and stuff like that. When I looked at the comments, pretty much everybody in the comment sections, both black men and black women alike, was saying, well, why did she go in there? Why did she go in there? With all the stuff that we have seen before, with black women going into these salons and them literally getting beat by these Asians for whatever reason, why do you keep going in there? And people saying, you mean to tell me she could not go and try to find a black-owned nail tech wherever she was at? Nobody felt bad for her. Nobody. Because we've seen the same song and dance before. It's not like it's a new phenomenon and we're seeing it for the first time. And it's catching everybody by surprise. If a black man, I believe in Chicago, throwing that brick through that glass at that salon or that Asian place did not wake black women up there, I don't know what will. Honestly. M said Tyrone Muhammad. Yes, I'm surprised you remember his name, because I forgot the man's name, honestly. And I remember doing a video about him. But yes, Tyrone Muhammad was the guy's name who threw that brick through that window. Oh, I found a very good one. The first paragraph of chapter 15. It says, black people are afraid, but black people are going to have to get over their fear. Black people do not know what is happening, but black people are going to have to learn and understand what is happening. Black people are not thinking, but black people are going to have to begin thinking. Black people are not being quiet, but black people are going to have to start getting quiet so they can think. Black people are not analyzing and planning, but black people are going to have to begin analyzing and planning. Black people do not understand deep self-respect, but black people are going to have to learn the meaning and practice of deep self-respect. Black people are going to have to stop permitting black children to play with parenthood. Black people are going to have to stop moaning, crying, rocking, complaining, and begging. Black people are going to have to stop thinking that rhyme and rhetoric will solve problems. Black people are going to have to stop finger popping and singing. Black people are going to have to stop dancing and clowning. Black people are going to have to stop laughing and listening to loud radios. All of these behaviors and many more have absolutely nothing to do with addressing the challenges and conditions of the open warfare continuously being waged against the Black collective. When I tell you, when I started to read that, I said, hold on. I said, where was she going with this? And then when I got to that last sentence, I said, oh, that was a gotcha moment right there. Shout out to Brooklyn Queen 125 for the super chat. She says, much love and respect. Thank you for the content. Basically, what she was saying is how, you know, how a lot of PC people try to say that if Black people stop doing this and stop doing that, this would not happen to them and this would not happen to them. Let's hypothetically say Black people stop doing all of the stuff that she just said. It would not stop or end white supremacy. That's basically what she said. If Black people stop doing all the things that PC says that we stop doing and stuff would stop happening to us, that S would end. Just like the whole thing of pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Just listen to the cops when they're pulling you over. Don't get loud. Don't do all the things. And it's crazy. All the stuff that they tell us not to do, they do. We're a paradigm. The stuff they tell us not to do, they do. And more of it because they know that they rarely will have any consequence for their actions. Mr. King said Black people were lynched in their Sunday best. You are absolutely correct. If you look at a lot of those lynching pictures, a lot of the men that were lynched, they had on shirts, ties, suit jackets, slacks, and dress shoes. You telling me not to dress a certain way is not going to stop white supremacy overnight. I said that was a real gotcha moment because when she said that, I was saying, "Oh, I agree with you on what you were saying," but then she got me at the end. It's like, "Oh, I see what you did there," because that's something that PC would love to say about us. And if they say if we stop doing this and we stop doing that, then this and this wouldn't happen to you. That is far from the truth. Tracy said, "This is why you see more of them shooting at the police, and police won't do anything because they are PC." Exactly. But then they'll try to lie and say, "Oh, they were just a PC was just doing their job." I said, "Excuse me." Just like the whole thing that I talked about yesterday with Ethan Lemming, or Lyman, whatever you pronounce his last name. Those three Black guys, self-defense. Why? Because I'm Black and I said so. And I put that on my Twitter account. Tracy said, look at the 12-year-old PC boy that went to the store and robbed. Yeah, I talked about that. Robbed the store, had the gun in his hand, and shot a warning shot in the air. Professor Black Truth did a moment of truth on him yesterday. If y'all watch PBT's Moment of Truth crime report that he does every Friday, he talked about him, that boy, yesterday. And I said, look, Tamir Rice, he was killed. John Crawford, killed. This boy went in there with the plan to rob, did rob, and had a gun, shot it in the air, and walked out with no mask on. He did it so casually, too, like it was just another day for him. Now, chapter 18. This chapter right here, we already know who got pissed off with this one if they read it, of course. The Crest Theory of the Holocaust, 1980. If they read the book, we probably know that they got mad about this chapter, most likely. Mr. King said PC Media tried to make the gun look harmless, but Inside Edition has a piece talking about how dangerous those splatter guns are and showing people being arrested for shooting people. Yeah, because like I said in my live stream yesterday, Tariq had showed a video where it was two PC guys using that same type of gun, and one of them got shot in like on his shirt with that gun with multiple shots. And then after some time passed, he lifted his shirt up and you could see all the red markings from when he got hit with that gun. I even had a troll leave a comment on my other channel because I was multi-streaming between this channel and my other channel and talking about like black people are weak or something like that because they got, they shot a water gun at him. I said, this was not a water gun, you dumb, it wasn't a water gun. And we know it wasn't a water gun. But that's PC for you. They always try to remix something around to what it really isn't. I'm not going to really read anything from the chapter when she's talking about the Holocaust, but she just like goes and talks about Semite and Hemite, what those words actually mean. She talks about the Black Madonna and some other things. I'm going to leave that one to y'all if y'all haven't read the book yet. It's an interesting chapter, but definitely check that one out. This one was a good chapter too. Chapter 19, the neurochemical basis for evil, is basically this chapter is talking about why, for the most part, most PC or those who identify as white supremacists are evil, and it pretty much goes back to a genetic based thing that they are mad they cannot produce melanin. That's just a small summary of what this chapter is. The fact that they lack the ability to produce melanin like other groups of people, especially black people, that upsets them. And no matter how many people they may screw who can produce melanin, it's not their reasoning as to why their offspring can come out melanated, as in I can say non-passing. That pisses them off. I think even in this chapter, it talks about how when a white woman conceives a child with, say, a black man, she feels that that's as close as she's going to be able to produce melanin because she gave birth to a melanated child. But the thing is, she's tricked her mind into believing that she's the reason that the child is melanated and not the black man she procreated with. But in all reality, the reason that child is melanated is because the melanin came from the black father, not you. Very interesting chapter. I do remember, this chapter right here. Chapter 25 talks about AIDS. Chapter 25 of this book talks about AIDS, the acquired immune deficiency syndrome, where it most likely actually came from, and the lie of where it came. We all heard that lie that it came from some monkey in Africa. because the thing is, they had to try to put it on a place where it came from a mostly melanated nation, and that was the best they could come up with. But of course, that has since been debunked. And in this chapter, she talks about Hitler a lot. Like, she mentions Hitler a lot in chapter 25. Probably the one about definitely the one on Holocaust. I think those two chapters is where Hitler gets mentioned quite a bit throughout those particular chapters. They said that it came from something called the African green monkey or the vervet monkey. That's the actual technical term for it. That's where allegedly AIDS came from, but of course we know that's not where it came from. That's just something they came up with. Barrington Wilson said AIDS is yesterday's smallpox blankets. And also in that chapter, they were just talking about how it's still not a known quote unquote cure for AIDS and HIV, which of course that was back then. And that was at its earlier stages of it. Of course, nothing much has changed in the last 30 plus years since its inception. JLJ said the angry they are, the faster they age. Well, honestly, I'm gonna be quite honest. I even think anger even has anything to do with it. It's just genetics. I think, even like happy or mad. I mean, I can say that, anger probably does have something to do with it, or having a bad lifestyle, or what you consume. Yeah, but I think genetics plays a role in it too. It was one particular paragraph that she had in one of these chapters, but I cannot find it for the life of me. But it was basically in layman terms, it was talking about how Black people, if you are thinking of trying to vindicate yourself from white supremacy through the means of, and this is where Jason Black and Professor Black Truth and Tariq talk about this often, through interracial sexual access, think again. It's not going to work that way. But the way she broke it down in this one particular paragraph, and I wish I would have remembered which chapter that was in, because she really broke that part down. And I wanted to find it so I could read it to y'all, because that part right there literally made me put the book down a little bit and really digest what she said. Out of everything that she said, that part right there really stuck out to me. But I can't remember what chapter it was in, nor what paragraph it was in, what she said it. But I think it was towards the end of a particular chapter in what she said that. So I'm trying to slip through a little bit to see if I can find it, because I cannot remember the chapter. But I will say that 6 is a very, very, very good chapter for Black men to read. I would definitely say chapter 6 is probably a very good chapter for Black men to read, period. Because chapter 6 is talking about Black male passivity. That one's really more towards those who are in the academy more than anything, but definitely should be really paid attention to. M said this broadcast made me pick up her book again. This is a great book to give as a gift. Well, I'm glad that it made you pick up the book again. For based on what I'm doing. You said it's chapter 9. Well, chapter 9 to see if I can find it. I'm looking at chapter 9 right now to see if I can find it. Melanie Goddard said, "Thank you, Torian, for reading and reviewing this amazing book. Now I have something to read over the summer." Listen to everybody who's saying stuff like that. I'm glad that I was able to do this, and I'm very appreciative of being able to come on here and talk to y'all, about this book. For those who have read it already and want to pick it up and read it again, or for those of you who have not been exposed to and have not read one chapter and went and bought the book based on this, I'm glad that I was able to come on here and do this for y'all, because I truly believe that everybody should read this book. Yeah, Crystal, I don't think it was chapter 9 because I just skimmed through chapter 9 and I don't see what it is that I'm talking about. I should have marked the page, like took like a little marker and marked it. That way I know where exactly it was. But that particular point that she made literally stuck out to me probably out of anything else that was in this book. Not saying that anything else didn't stick out, but this chapter or this excerpt literally jumped right out at me. And I said this definitely applies to today for sure. I'm having so much trouble trying to find it. I probably won't even find it, honestly. The thing is, by the time I find it, the stream will probably be over, and I'm like, damn, I found it. But Black Roltron says, "Have you thought about doing a series like this maybe once every 3 months?" I haven't thought about it. People are suggesting that I do, but I don't want to commit to something and I don't do it or act on the commitment. So if I do something like this, it's not going to be like, it's going to be kind of sporadic. It's going to happen when it happens. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to do it this time and I'm going to do it at this time. So it's one of the things, if it happens, it happens. I'm actually about to end the stream myself because for some reason I keep flipping through this book trying to find that one particular quote that I cannot find. And the thing is, I might end up finding it, but I remember it stuck out to me. Like I said, I should have marked the page. But anyway, I'm glad everybody came through and spent like the last couple of hours with me going over this book. If y'all have not read this book, please do yourself a favor, get it and read it a couple times if you have to really digest everything. I call it the Black Bible for a reason, because it has more than earned its name. And it was written by this woman right here, who I call the Queen Mother, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Please, please, please get this book if you have not. Oh, you said 157? Hold on. Hold on, I think Crystal, I think found the page that I was looking for. She says page 157. Hold on, y'all. I think we may have found it. It says, similarly, some blacks have sought to escape the confrontation with white supremacy through Marxist doctrine by attempting to conceive of themselves as member of the quote unquote working class. Now, this is right here when you talk about your Sambos. Your coons and your Sambos definitely fall into this one. Shout out to Patience is a Virtue for the super sticker. She says, pure character flying in the air with a red cape and a smile on his face. This is by attempting to conceive themselves as members of the working class. They failed to see that Marx, who was a Semite, a non-white, was a victim of anti-Semitism. 1/3 of the world population of Semites of the Jewish religion were destroyed by German white supremacy, meaning that millions of Marx's own descendants were destroyed in this process. Also, similarly, the increase in interracial marriages can be viewed as a means of escape and a means for blacks to avoid the awareness of their continuing status as permanent outsiders outside of the white chalk circle of white supremacy, numerical and genetic global necessity. It should be noted that in the white supremacy societal unit of Nazi Germany, the highest incident of interracial marriage between Semites, non-whites, and Germans occurred just prior to the ultimate destruction of the Semites in the Holocaust. The Semites of the Jewish religion were looked upon as non-whites because their ancestors were black and resided in Africa prior to entering Europe. That's the part that I was looking for. Shout out to you, Crystal, for finding that right before the end of the stream. And also shout out to, I'm guessing that's Kala, who sent me a Cash App donation. Appreciate it. I just got it. But yeah, that was the part I was looking for. And shout out to you, Crystal. Getting into interracial relationships as a form of escaping white supremacy, as we all know, that's very unlikely going to happen. And when they were talking about the quote unquote working class, they were talking about your Sambos at that point. But yeah, all in all, shout out to everybody that came through. I'm about to end the stream. We've been on here for about 2 hours. I'm glad I was able to come on here to do this. Also, I'm gonna just say it now. Happy Juneteenth to all the FBAs in here, and also happy Father's Day to all of the fathers that's in here as well. So if you are a black father, especially if you are a black FBA father, you're getting double the treatment tomorrow. At least you should. But with that being said, I'm gonna hop off of here tomorrow. Of course, y'all will get one video tomorrow because on the weekends I only upload one pre-recorded video, and that'll come to you at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all enjoy yourselves.